Good morning, MLB Pro family. Welcome to the Kansas City Athletic Podcast. I am your Sacramento GM, Scott Gesford.
And I'm your Kansas City GM, Rob Chappie Chapman.
All right, let's get right into the standings. Today is July 2nd. In the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays have a 1/2 game lead over the Boston Red Sox, an 8-game lead over Baltimore, a 10-game lead over Toronto, and a 15.5 lead over the Yankees.
And in the Central, the Detroit Tigers have gone on another hot streak and are up to 51 and 35, which puts them 6 games ahead of both the Minnesota Twins and your favorite team, the Kansas City Royals. They're 8.5 up on the White Sox and 18 up on the Guardians.
They're not my favorite team, maybe the second favorite team, but in the AL West, the
Yeah.
Angels have kept their lead at 4.5 games over Seattle, 6.5 over Houston, 12-game lead over my Athletics, and a 19-game lead over the Rangers.
And in the NL East, the world champion Philadelphia Phillies are still playing well. They're at 55 and 31. They've got the biggest lead anywhere. They're 14 games ahead of the Braves, 19 ahead of the Mets, 21 ahead of the Nationals, and 22 ahead of the Marlins.
And then we move into the NL Central, and I believe this is the first time all year that one of the teams has fallen below 500. It's led off by the Pittsburgh Pirates at 50 and 37. They have a game and a half lead over the Cincinnati Reds, a 5-game lead over the Cardinals, 5.5 over the Brewers, and 9 games over the struggling Cubs, who are now 40 and 45.
And then out west, the Giants are still duking it out with the Diamondbacks. They have a 2.5 game lead over Arizona. The Giants are up 8.5 on the Rockies, 10.5 on the Padres, and 14.5 on the Dodgers. So, as you can see, let's
Eh,
talk about the wild cards real quick. But as you can see, we're starting to see a little bit of separation in some of these divisions that have been so close all year long. The AL wild card race, the Mariners lead that with the Astros also secure in a spot. The Red Sox have that final wild card right now, but the Twins are only 2.5 games behind them. The Royals are only 2.5 games behind them, and the A's are 4.5 out. The White Sox have
Woo!
been sneaking up on people. They're only 5 games out of the wild card over there. Um, I'll go ahead and mention that the Orioles are 7.5. And the Blue Jays, who are now full on rebuilding, are 9.5 out. That's everyone within single digits.
Okay, then when we move over to the National League, the Cincinnati Reds have the lead in the first spot in the wild card. Arizona Diamondbacks are there. The Cardinals hold the third and final spot by a half game over the Brewers, 3.5 over the Braves, 4 over the Cubs and Rockies, 6 over San Diego, and 8.5 over the Mets.
Yeah, so as I was mentioning, Scott, we're starting to see that separation here. Teams like uh, the Yankees, the Marlins, the Guardians, the Nationals are all, definitely trying to probably get any prospects they can in some trades right now. The Blue Jays, as we mentioned, they 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 thought they were going to rebuild earlier in the year, but they didn't do too poorly. But now that they've fallen 9.5 out, they're officially in on the rebuild. So we've seen an uptick in
And I got a
trades.
piece of that action. Just
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So we've seen an uptick in trades. So let's just talk about the trades that stand out over the last 2 weeks. Now, as everybody remembers, we were messing around trade talking last podcast, which is on Tuesday, the 17th of June. The very next day, we finally agreed to trade. But the only thing that trade had in common with anything we had been talking about was that Jalen Lofton was involved. But then Lofton wasn't even a key piece of this trade. So, do you remember exactly how this
no.
evolved? Okay. I don't remember all the details, but I do remember coming to the realization that maybe because I had just been trying to shop my backup catcher Javi Lopez around, and it wasn't getting me anywhere, even though I've had several people ask about him over the last year and a half. Um, but now that I had my captain as the backup catcher, Neftali Rosario, I, I really wanted to move him and have that platoon of Rosario and Alvarez. Alvarez hit 22 home runs as a rookie last year. He's a great power hitting catcher, just not great defensively. I thought about moving the DH, but then over at DH, I've got Swagger. If I put Swagger at first, that takes Clemens out of the lineup. Clemens can play third, kind of, but not at a level I need out of my third baseman. So I was just thinking, I was sitting in my sitting in my office. I was like, hey, why don't I move Alvarez? Because Javi Lopez was hitting like
Well,
over 300, and I figured he would be a lot.
yeah, I just came to you. I just came to you. You said you couldn't trade the other catcher, and I said, well, what about Alvarez? Let's do Alvarez. And you wanted De La Rosa.
Yeah,
And I said, I'm not going to trade De La Rosa right now. And then you asked about Goldman, and I said,
yeah. So
I can
Goldman's
do that.
one of your top pitching prospects. It's not, he was probably your top pitching prospect, but he's on the shelf for the rest of the year, and you never know how he's gonna recover. I'm kind of confident that he'll make a full recovery, but getting a player of that level, a prospect of that level for me, where I don't really have any young pitchers. I have a couple guys for next season we can talk about later, but like I don't have anyone, Goldman's only what, 23. I guess he's 23. He's a little on the older end. He's not as young as I was thinking just now, but
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone of his caliber
He'll
in my system.
if
And
if he gets healthy, he'll be ready for 26.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's he's expected to be a participant in spring training for us next year. So we'll see how that goes. Um, but as soon as Goldman's name came up, and as soon as I realized I should be trading Alvarez instead of Lopez, it just came together very quickly. So the very next day after our podcast, we made that trade. And so
And
far,
it was all because of the podcast. No, just
yeah,
kidding.
so far I'll just give it a really short update. As a member of the Royals, Jalen Lofton has only hit 167. He's in the 2 weeks he's only appeared in 7 games and started five, but he's in fourth outfielder territory in there. So he hasn't made a big impact, but we're still really excited about what Goldman might bring to us next year. How has Alvarez done
Well,
for
yeah,
you?
Alvarez has played in 8 games and started five, and it's batted 316 with 2 homers and 7 RBIs. So he's going to be a backup catcher to Munkin, and he's going to platoon at DH with Venables for now.
Yeah, so
But that may change soon because Venables has not been hitting well.
So in 22 at bats or plate appearances, I mean, he's already hit 2 home runs for you after only hitting five and 231 for me. That sounds about right. Seems like he's
Well,
happier over there
well,
in,
who
in
doesn't like playing in
Sacramento.
Sacramento over Kansas City?
Most people, Scott, most people.
All right, let's move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to move on to
exactly.
the next trade here?
So let's move on. Yeah, on Friday the 20th, the Nationals sent out Ethan Reed, which is no surprise. They're rebuilding, and Reed's been in AAA for Jamie Long. So um, we'll see how that impacts Pittsburgh in the long run.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's helping right now at all. Long is apparently in Indianapolis for them. Trying to verify that real quick. No, he's not. Where is Jamie Long now? I'm sorry. I'm looking for Ethan Reed, aren't I? We should
No, he
edit
was an
this
A
out so
ball.
I don't.
Ethan Reed,
Yeah.
Ethan Reed in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but oh yeah, so Ethan Reed got
Uh,
sent to
he's
Pittsburgh.
he's in
That's
he's been AAA.
yeah. So he hasn't made any impact for the Pirates yet. He's in AAA right now. I just said the wrong name. I meant to say
Yeah.
Reed. But we'll see if that pays any dividends this year. Pittsburgh is still, leading their division, although by a hair. So maybe that will have an effect. Maybe it won't. The next trade we saw was just 6 days later between the Giants and the Blue Jays, with Ryan Nash going to the Giants. What do you think of that deal? He went
I
there
thought it was
for a
a
minor
good deal
A-ball first
for,
baseman.
yeah, I thought it was a good trade for the Giants, but Nash has just been um sparse. He's only played in 4 games and had 11 at bats since that time in
Yeah, so it looks like Hines was looking for just a
so
little extra depth there.
I don't know why you go out and get a, yeah, but it was retained 100% by Toronto, so there's no financial cost to San Francisco, and why not, plug him in where you need him.
Yeah. Nash is a
But
guy
but
my
then we get to
scouts
the next. Oh, go ahead.
Nash is a guy my scouts really like. Fantastic fielder, good speed, good contact, and he can also draw a bunch of walks. He has not yet drawn a walk in
Right.
San Francisco, but he looks like he could be a key piece in it. If one of their outfielders get hurt, that's going to be a deal that John will be very happy with.
Yeah, exactly. Trade that wasn't a trade. Milwaukee and Tampa did a trade, uh, and Pantaloni refused to waive his no trade clause to go to Tampa Bay. So that trade was nixed.
Yeah,
What
that
do you,
that
I
had to
mean, did
be.
you have any thoughts on that trade or
I mean, that was going to be a huge deal for, well, for both teams, but Tampa in particular. They've got the pitching, their bats aren't always, up to snuff, and having a guy like Paolini in there would really help. He's just a great player. He's a great clubhouse presence. He's another guy that can get on base with hits or walks. Doesn't strike out a whole lot compared to other players in this league. Um, and then that was going to give Milwaukee a potential boost to their um, rotation with Matuella. I don't know how to say that name, but he's really struggled in Tampa Bay. We'll talk more about him later, I think. And
yes?
that would have been probably a very helpful
And
trade for both teams.
Yeah, because Milwaukee would have got a couple pretty good prospects, and the first one, center fielder Corey Collins Carter, and then Luis Gutierrez. So, um, but we'll have to see how that plays out later on.
Yeah, and I believe that if the timing is right, when was this? June 27th. So like this was right in the wake of Brandon Gill, the Rays starting first baseman, getting hurt for a couple of months. So that would have really helped
Right.
Tampa Bay right there. Um, so what was next? So that trade ended up not going through because of the no trade clause. Um, the next deal to come through was between Pittsburgh and the Yankees, as the Pirates sent a minor league third baseman Brady House over to New York for Dansby Swanson. Swanson is a shortstop. The Pirates have also been, using Michael Sharp at shortstop. They've used uh what's his name? Tyler Donaldson, former
So
Royal at shortstop. They just haven't found anyone who could play there and
they tried
hit.
yeah, they tried to just about everybody on their roster to play shortstop.
Yeah.
And Swanson, he looks like a pretty good guy. I mean, I think he might. I mean, he's not going to hit the ball a lot, but his defense is going to be excellent, and he's a captain on top of that. So maybe that'll help bond
Yeah.
the Pirates even more.
And it looks like they've got him penciled in to play against lefties, so he hasn't appeared for the Pirates yet. But I will say his 213 batting average, as low as that is higher than than both Donaldson and what they've been getting from Sharp. Donaldson's hitting 165 and Sharp's at 171. Um, so that'll be interesting to see how that works out uh, for the Pirates there. This next trade coming through was a big one yesterday, right? Or it's 2 days ago between you and the Twins. The Athletics sent
Yes.
Max Fried, Cole Winn, Michael Penetra, and Luis Cova, a guy I don't think you were willing to send to me, um, to Minnesota for Caleb Coward. Talk about that a little bit, Scott.
Oh, that was a very tough trade for me to pull off because I like Kova a lot. Obviously I signed them in international free agency last year, but he is a long ways away, and I've kind of made an effort to go all in this year and compete. It hasn't really worked out too well for me yet, but I'm hoping, to get a solid first baseman in there and Cowart, um, that it's going to wake the team up and start producing. Uh, Penetra, he just wasn't doing well anymore for me, so I figured he was expendable by getting another first baseman. Uh, Max Fried, like the arm, but I have a ton of bullpen arms in AAA that I can bring up, and that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm just hoping that Cowart's bat, you know, and he signed for a while, so that that always helps too.
So does this mean an end of the road there in Sacramento for Donnie Dingers, or is he still going to
Donnie
be part of your?
Dingers he's gonna be on the bench and being a backup in a snake hitter when I need uh powerful bat off the bench, because it led to me moving Gabriel Vaughn today, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that Vaughn got traded
I
today.
couldn't keep both of those. Yeah, I couldn't keep both of them, so Tampa Bay asked about them, and we came up with an agreement. So
All
then,
right.
if we turn the table to yesterday, we get a trade that involves you. You
Yes.
sending Chris
Just a little
Rivers and
deal.
retaining
Yeah.
50% of his salary to Seattle.
Well, I noticed that Sozi had been looking for an extra pitcher with a few injuries, and Rivers is a guy that's had in AAA, and I already knew I was not going to offer him arbitration this upcoming off season. So I was just wondering if there was like a flip him for a prospect in that situation, and I got Ethan Eisenhart, by no means a surefire future major leaguer, but I think he has a lot of upside and a shot. But this is where my brain was going earlier. He's only 20. I don't have any young pitchers that age that really have hopes. So I'm just trying to collect a bunch of them and hope that one or two of them will develop over the next 3 or 4 years. So this trade made a lot of sense for me as it freed up a little bit of money, not only now, but for my extensions next year, because now Rivers is not showing up on my projected expenses, and I just think it could help
Right.
both teams out. Rivers is not a highly rated guy, but there's nothing he's really bad at, and was definitely one of my more consistent pitchers over the years. Usually his whip and ERA did not fluctuate a whole lot. He had a 5+ ERA his rookie year, but ever since then, he's been very steady, very reliable. It was hard to send him to AAA this year because I really wanted to make room for him in rotation, but he's just kind of been out talented over the last couple of years with all the guys I've been bringing in, and so he kind of was the odd man out. So I'll be happy to see him have a little success in Seattle as long as it's not against me.
I won't be happy to see him have any success in Seattle. So,
Yeah. Well, another trade yesterday
so that
was,
moves us.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Milwaukee going back to Tampa Bay and finally getting Michael Matuella with nobody there to veto the trade with a no trade clause. Um, they had to give up a relief pitcher, Jacob Free, um, but now they've got a little extra help in the rotation and a fresh start for Matuella, who having, not what he's capable of in Tampa. So that'll be an interesting one to follow for the Brewers as they are in that crowded NL East.
Yeah, right, and who knows? Matuella may turn it around and start pitching better and help Milwaukee in that division. And then we get the blockbuster trade. The Cubs send $385,000 to Arizona for Tom Jackson.
Yeah, so I think the Cubs are just looking for a little bit of a cheap bat upgrade there, for maybe their backup catcher. I don't know what Jabs's plans are with Bowers, whether he's there to platoon to be a starter full time or anything like that. But I do know that he was looking for a little bit better of a bat than his Bowers' former platoon mate, whose name is escaping me right now. Was it Austin Barnes? Yeah, Austin Barnes. So Austin Barnes was
Austin
hitting
Barnes.
just
Yeah.
171 this year and had a WAR of negative -0.6. So he's just not carrying his weight. Um, so it looks like Tom Jackson's going to come in and kind of just give them a better option whenever Bowers isn't fully rested or able to go.
Yeah.
And it only costs them $385,000. They didn't have to give up a player. So
Right. Yeah. So and then we turn the clock back to today, and I've made a couple of trades here, not major trades, but I traded Mike King, catcher from AAA, to Toronto for relief pitcher Jason Wiley and 100% retention. Wiley's been having a pretty good year in Toronto, and with me just trading free, that opened up a spot in my bullpen. And I figured, Mike King, he looks pretty good. He might be a good backup catcher, but with me getting Alvarez, that kind of locks up my backup catcher for the next 3 or 4 years. And King was never going to get a shot and without a major injury. So uh, I figured he was worth to trade to get Jason Wiley.
yeah, and I didn't tell you this yesterday when you were DMing me about this potential Wiley deal, but I actually had looked at Toronto's roster earlier that day and thought Wiley would be a nice piece. So I think he's got good potential. He's older, but he's not locked up. It's just for the rest of this year. He's got a really bad changeup, but it hasn't seemed to affect him at all. He's got like a 1.74 ERA in 41 innings, and prior years pretty good stats. So I really liked him. I like that move for you, giving up a you know catching depth for a what looks to be a really solid relief pitcher.
Yes.
And then I also noticed when I was looking
Yeah,
at your
and
team,
hopefully he helps.
I also noticed when I was looking at your team that Hilton Lee looked like a good option in AAA. And so now you're sending him off, but I liked him too. So so
Yeah,
Vaughn,
yeah. Lot of, I have a lot of arms, and even a lot of arms in AAA. And at some point, I either need to use them or send them off. And so that's why I moved Lee and Vaughn. I traded him also to Tampa. I got Henry Bolt from A Ball and Dari Lorenzo in AAA as a shortstop, because shortstop's been one of my headaches. And
mhm.
now I have somebody in case somebody gets hurt or depth piece.
Seems like
And
shortstop's been
I had
everybody's.
too many first basemen.
Yeah. Well, and
It
as
it
we mentioned
is.
earlier, Tampa really needed somebody to fill in for Gill for the next. It looks like Gill's back in 3 to 4 weeks, but Vaughn's really going to help them out there and keep their
Well,
offense.
hopefully he needed to help somebody out, because he didn't help me out. But and that led to the question from somebody in the chat room. Maybe it was the anonymous GM. He sat there and said, "Well, after I got Court, what am I going to do with Giolito?" And my plan was, Giolito was a rental for 1 year,
That was
and
actually
and
me
that's
that.
the way it's going to continue to be. And oh, was it you?
Yeah, because I
I
told
can't
you
remember. Somebody
I
mentioned
said
in the chat room.
I asked you if
Yeah,
he's
you
still
wanted me to
available.
trade you Giolito for some garbage piece. Yeah.
No, for
Well,
a
if an
quality arm, but not an elite prospect because he's a rental. You don't give up elite prospects for
well,
rentals.
yes, you do if it means a chance for a championship.
Well,
Uh,
I don't.
but if I don't turn it around in the next few weeks, I may have to look at moving him at the deadline, Giolito, and try to
Yeah.
recoup some prospects in return, and maybe to somebody that can afford to sign him to an extension. I don't
All
have
right.
the financial ability to
So
do that.
Scott, 4 weeks from today, we'll have our podcast on the 30th. At that point in time,
Aha.
we'll see where you are, and maybe we can work out a live trade for Giolito, or we'll just argue the whole time because you want more than I want to give up for him.
Maybe
One or the other.
exactly. That'll probably be the case. But that week, I'll just have a 4 game weekend series in Houston, and then a 3 game set against Seattle at home to end the month. So I
Yeah.
may be in a trading mood at that time. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's
But how
let's talk
goes it
about
with
that real
the
quick.
with the
Yeah.
Royals?
Yeah. So
Oh, good.
we're on a little bit of a roll, I'd like to say. Now that could end at any second because we're midway through a 4 game series with the Mariners, and then we go straight from there to Arizona for 3 games, and then we go home to take on Pittsburgh for 3 games. So we're 8-2 in our last 10. We've just won the first 2 games of this 4 game set with the Mariners. So we're playing probably the best baseball we've played in a long time. Um, I hope we keep going. It was around this time last year that we got better. And it's all or mostly thanks to Bradley Swagger. Swagger's on a 4 game home run streak right now with 5 home runs in the last 4 games, 11 RBIs in the last
25
4 games.
minutes.
He is on fire. And I said last podcast, if he gets into the top 10 in OPS, I'll start plugging him for MVP instead of Rookie of the Year. Well, guess what? He's number 4 now. So cast your votes today. I don't think you can, but if you could, Bradley Swagger, AL MVP.
Oh man,
But that's my
man.
team in
I,
a
I
in a
got
in a
heartburn. I got
nutshell.
heartburn right now. No. Well, good. I mean, yeah, you've been 8-2 in your last 10 games, but guess what?
Yeah, I know. Detroit nine
Detroit's
and
nine
two.
and one
Nine and
in their
nine and
last.
one. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
nine
bad at
and
the
one.
math, but
Yeah.
yeah, 9-1.
So they're on
So
they're on
we've
fire.
lost a game in the last 10. We've lost a
But you've
game even though,
but you've
but we're
also moved up in the wild card standings by a couple
that's
games.
correct. Yeah, but I want you know what? I want the AL crown,
So
AL Central crown. I don't want just a wild card. But we'll see. Right now we're as healthy as
yeah.
we've been all year long. Also, I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but we have Baker in the lineup, we have Swagger in the lineup, we have Clemens in the lineup. Javi Lopez is hitting 322. He seems unfazed by us getting rid of Alvarez. In fact, he seems to be happy to be our new starting catcher. Um, Nander DeSatis, who I was talking about, really needs to get his act together. He's had 2 really good games in a row. I think we're turning the corner here, maybe, but I don't want to jinx it. How are things in Sacramento?
Sacramento, well, we've been plugging along. We've been struggling like we've been lately, and you know, we're looking forward to um, this next couple of weeks and seeing if we can get ourselves back into the race, and hopefully a coward will catapult us up there. We've brought however you say, Schoenborn up to be our fifth starter. He struggled in his first start, but my plan is to have him stay up and be the sixth person once Hunter Green is healthy and ready to come back in a week or so. Uh, but you know, our bullpen, our pitchers have been doing good. I mean, we have the third best ERA bullpen in the American League. Our starters are seventh, so our pitching is not the problem. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
heard me say this before. It has
it's
all to do with our hitters. We're
yeah, It's
We're in the
you've got
bottom.
the
We're in the
you've got
10%, 10th or worse.
yeah, you've got the worst on base percentage in the AL. And that's not good.
I'll rub it in a little bit more. No,
Just stating facts here.
you know,
Um,
but Rob, it can only get better from here.
that's right. You can't go worse than
That's
15th
the
in the
approach I'm
AL.
taking. It can only get better from here. I
Now
also
you could
want you to
get worse in
remember
runs scored because you're
that
13th there. So you could still go down to 14th
that's
or
right.
15th in that. But in on base percentage, you can't get any worse.
Hey, I'm tied for 13th in runs
Oh,
scored.
well, so you could go
So
three spots
I
worse.
just want you
Sole
to remember
possession of
that
13.
so Toronto still has Pardo, Nicholas, and Martin all on the block that he's willing to retain on all three of them. So if you're looking for a relief pitcher, a left fielder, or a DH, hit Mitch up.
That's right. That's right.
Who else? Is there anybody else in Arizona has a few pitchers on the block? And Kimberly said that cash and money is accepted. I asked if Apple or PayPal was accepted, but I didn't get a response. So I don't know if that's
I
the
think that's a no.
case
That's probably a
or
no.
not.
All
Okay.
right.
And then Baltimore has a bunch of arms that they're shopping around. So if you're looking for an arm and you're in the race, you know who to get a hold of.
That's right.
Baltimore, Tampa, Toronto.
All right. Well, I'm short on
All
time
right.
today
The
because I've
next
got my
time, I think
new
the next time we
stepson
meet.
here. So, yeah. So next
Oh
time we
yeah,
meet
how's
will
married
be,
life?
it's great. It's been a good week and 3 days. Uh, yeah, next time we meet will be the 16th of July. And then the one after
The
that'll
day
be
after the
right.
All-Star game.
Yeah. And then then we'll have the 30th right before the trade deadline. So I would say anyone want to join us on that podcast, it would be great. Maybe someone would want to talk a trade out real time. But
Hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you on the 30th, I just want to go over the standings and then let people talk trade
yeah, that's a good
for
idea.
the whole
So anyone that
podcast.
wants to join us, please do. That should be a fun podcast there.
And if I struggle, Giolito may be on the block and you can get them live.
Yep. Yep. For Gunnar Gray.
All right,
Gunnar
Rob, I
Gray for
always
Giolito.
appreciate talking with you and your time. And no, it's going to cost you a little bit more than that. Uh, but I always enjoy talking trade with you, even though you do like to lowball,
You like to over ask.
especially at
So
the beginning.
all
Well,
right.
well, if you start asking low, you have no place to go up. But if you ask high, you can always meet in the middle.
Maybe. I don't know.
So
I'm pretty
ponder that one.
firm.
So,
All right, Scott. Thank you so much.
all right, Rob. Hey, it
All
was
right.
great chatting with you, and we will talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.